After 2 seasons of wilting in the background, Bridgerton's Penelope Featherington is finally getting her time to bloom in the spotlight. Getting the main character treatment means a total overhaul of her look, but like any good rom-com, the makeover is just the beginning.
Pen, living for the estimation of others is a trap. Once you break free, the world opens up.
Taking center stage also affects how we understand Penelope. While she's been quietly making her mark from the sidelines, now we're really getting a chance to understand her story and motivations. So let's take a deeper look at Penelope's main character changes, how it's affected her story so far in Season 3, and what might be to come in the second half of the season. While Season 1's Daphne started out as a glowing lead, successive seasons of Bridgerton have taken the opportunity to update characters as they move from supporting to main roles. Anthony lost his period-accurate but kind of distracting mutton chops in favor of a more dashing modern look for Season 2. Season 3 sees Wallflower Penelope getting a major look update, but this isn't just a quiet production side change. It's also a central part of her narrative. Her look overhaul is an active choice that she makes when she comes to the grim realization that not finding a husband means being trapped under the thumb of her mother and sisters for the rest of her life.
I take comfort in knowing that you will always be here to take care of me.
Callum Marsh unpacked the so-called Bridgerton glow-up in his New York Times article on Bridgerton, a bigger role means a big makeover. And in speaking to showrunner Jess Brownell, she explained, "She's this character who's been on the sidelines for so long, and appearance-wise, she's really just done what her mother wanted her to. And that Season 3 finds her separating herself from her mother and her family." While she's been quietly controlling the ton from behind the scenes with her writing as Lady Whistledown, now she moves to take direct control over her own life.
To live at the whim of either the most cruel or the most simple person I know. I must take a husband before that happens.
And having been trapped in the tacky aesthetic her mother favors her entire life, her first change is sartorial.
I do not wish to see a citrus colour ever again.
She also goes for a major hair upgrade, losing the tight girlish ringlets in favor of more flowing movie star locks. And how the show itself frames Penelope changes too. As she takes her place in the center of the story, she receives all of the hallmarks of a leading lady. A backlight always following her around to make sure her fiery red hair is lit just so. Soft, glamorous lighting that gives her a beautiful glow. Penelope's love interest Colin also gets a major leading man upgrade, coming back from a few months abroad ready to sweep every woman in London off of her feet.
Under what foreign sun did you apparently get so sturdy?
I was nowhere and everywhere. I shall not bore you with details. I must know, who are you? What have you done with our brother?
Film and TV have used these kinds of framing conventions to signify which character is the one we're supposed to be following and connecting to, while others are left in the background. So it's very interesting to see Bridgerton characters like Penelope experience both versions, the flat side character treatment and the move to lead.
And why do I have the feeling that you, in turn, know how to make one wither, if you so choose?
Me?
And this change gives us a better opportunity to really understand Penelope and her motivations on a deeper level. When she was a supporting character, some of her actions could seem a little hard to understand, or even downright unkind. But now that she's at the center of the plot, we're finally provided the opportunity to see the world from her point of view, and begin to understand why she makes the choices she does. But Penelope's glow-up is only the beginning of her evolution. The show makes it clear that there's much more work that she needs to do internally to find the confidence she seeks.
I know I can be clever and amusing, but somehow my character gets lost between my heart and my mouth, and I find myself saying the wrong thing, or more likely, nothing at all.
Penelope was always the most confident as the version of herself that wasn't seen at all. Lady Whistledown is even more hidden away than Wallflower Penelope, existing to the ton only as a mysterious pamphlet. And so beginning to really step out into the world as herself proves to be very difficult, even with her glam new look.
I like to read very much, but perhaps too much. My mama's always telling me, put my books down. Not that there is anything wrong with reading, of course.
But with a little help from her friend, she does start finding footing in this world she's always felt so boxed out of. But that doesn't mean that the drama is over. Writing as Lady Whistledown has given Penelope, for the first time in her life, a sense of purpose and fuels her from deep within.
I imagine it to be something very animated and satisfying. The type of ending that speaks not to who I am, but rather who I aim to be. My purpose will challenge me to be brave and witty.
She never fit in with the Ton in person, but her writing allowed her to not only capture the Ton's attention, but control it at her will. She becomes so engrossed in this second life that she's willing to put her work above everything else, even those that she's closest to. A big theme for Penelope over the seasons has been dealing with having to lie to everyone she cares about to do the thing she loves most. At the very end of season 2, she and her best friend Eloise had a blow-up fight after Eloise realized that Penelope was the one who had written about her relationship and so much other gossip about her family.
Also, you could keep making money at a cost to everyone else, at a cost to Miss Thompson, to my brother, to my entire family, to your entire family. I ended my friendship with Theo because of you.
The Queen had become suspicious that Eloise was Lady Whistledown, and so Penelope figured that the best way to save her from the accusation, and the consequences, was to write something terrible about her in the pamphlet, a theme that returns in season 3. But Eloise, unsurprisingly, did not see it as a kind gesture.
I was trying to protect you. Is that what you were doing? By writing about me in your latest sheet? The only person you were interested in saving was yourself.
Their rift isn't at all healed when we step into season 3, but in those first 4 episodes, we do get to see that there is clearly still love between the two, even if they aren't able to be friends again just yet. Penelope's other major drama that set the stage for season 3 was overhearing the object of her affections, Colin Bridgerton, saying terrible things about her and how he'd never be attracted to someone like her.
I would never dream of courting Penelope Featherington, not in your wildest fantasies, Fife.
This was particularly heartbreaking for Penelope because they had, just moments before, been having a wonderful time that she thought might mean a glimmer of hope that they could one day be something more.
I will always look after you, Penelope. You are special to me.
As are you.
And so to have those hopes so quickly dashed, and in such a cruel way, and just after losing her best friend, sends Penelope into a tailspin. At the opening of season 3, she's essentially completely secluded herself away from the world, and is none too happy to run into Colin, who doesn't yet know that she overheard his conversation with his friends.
It is good to see you.
Is it?
Truly, it has felt like I've been absent years instead of months.
Much has certainly changed in that time.
But she can't help eventually falling back into her old friendship with Colin, and they begin growing closer after he offers to give her lessons on how to fit in so that she can find the husband she desires.
And what I have learned is that charm can be taught. We will have lessons, and you will quickly master them, I'm certain.
But in a fit of rage at the end of the first episode, Penelope wrote some pretty terrible things about Colin in Lady Whistledown's rag, realizing too late, after it had already been sent to print, that she didn't want it to go out. Colin vows vengeance against the mysterious gossip, and Penelope finds herself pulled more and more between the two parts of herself.
Sooner or later, she will be caught, and we shall dance on the day of her demise.
While her aesthetic update was pretty quick and painless, easy when she was already beautiful to begin with, she quickly realizes her most difficult challenge is her inner self, namely her social awkwardness and lack of confidence in herself.
What a striking gown you have on.
You as well, my lord. Not the gown part, obviously the first part. It is a pleasure to see you all in your proper evening dress, which is not at all gown-like.
While Penelope may not be a social butterfly, her real power lies in her ability to read and find connection with people one-on-one. She's good at giving advice, and she soon realizes that she should start taking her own advice too.
You really ought to take to the floor again.
Ought I?
Once one finds oneself on the wall, it is difficult to come off it.
You really ought to take to the floor again. It's difficult to come off the wall once you are on it.
This ability to notice the small details and what really makes someone them, and suss out what they really need or are afraid of, is what makes her so adept at writing her pamphlet. But it's also what has for so long kept her on the wall as an observer instead of an active participant in life. While Penelope does begin to bloom and come into her own as a more confident woman this season, we also see that she hasn't totally changed. She can't stop herself from reading Colin's journal, both because of her poor boundaries and because of her deep desire to know more about everyone, especially Colin. And eventually, she has to turn her pen on herself. She's, for the first time in her life, begun attracting attention from the Ton. And when it gets out that most eligible bachelor Colin has been helping her find a husband, she has to disparage herself as Lady Whistledown, because if that major gossip didn't make it into the pamphlet, everyone would quickly realize who was writing it. But things aren't all bad for Penelope. She does begin to exhibit a lot of growth over this first half of the season, and even finds a suitor who proposes. But Penelope knows deep down that he isn't the one she wants.
Oh, do not tell me you're holding out for love. Oh, this is the very reason why I discourage you from reading.
For his part, Colin finally begins realizing that he does like Penelope as more than just friends, after they share a kiss and his mind becomes engulfed with thoughts of her. He's always seen her inner goodness, but now he feels the real spark between them too. This all culminates in a major moment at the end of the first batch of episodes.
For God's sake, Penelope Featherington, are you going to marry me or not?
It's everything that Penelope has been dreaming of for years. But it's not a totally joyous occasion. In the back of her mind, she still knows that her secret identity can't stay secret forever. And now her work as the mysterious Lady Whistledown threatens to unravel this new happiness she's found. There were, of course, so many other threads set up this season too, from the Bridgerton children to Penelope's sisters and their husbands, to Queen Charlotte, to even new sides of Cressida of all people. These first 4 episodes were packed with goings-on that will surely lead down their own interesting paths in the second half of Season 3. But as with Penelope, the main struggle so many of these beloved characters are facing is trying to find confidence in their real selves, and not feeling like they must hide behind some kind of facade.
Do you know what I discovered when I was abroad? No one knew me. No one knew who I was supposed to be. I was entirely freed of being the Colin Bridgerton that Tom knows me to be.
Now that she's been placed front and center, we do connect more with what's driving her, and how being torn between these two parts of herself continually backs her into a corner that she's not sure how to get out of, but is also afraid to leave because it means having to make a decision of going one way or another. Well, in the books, Penelope and Colin don't get together for 10 years after he comes back from abroad. Clearly, the show has decided to shorten the time span quite a bit, which means we're also likely to see how the relationship weathers the storm of the reveal of her writing as Lady Whistledown in the second set of episodes. Only time will tell how Penelope writes her way out of this one. That's the take. Click here to watch the video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. And make sure to subscribe to our Patreon for exclusive new videos.